I just, no, I don't think, I can't relate to charging people for their incarceration. It'd be too easy to, the well-to-do could buy really good stuff and the poor folks couldn't, and I think it would just cause more problems than it would ever solve. I haven't given that a lot of thought. Anyone else?
When you went to door to door and talked to people, you say you targeted the people that they voted for?
Only with the brochure.
So when you talk to people door to door, how many people seem to have an issue on their mind before you started talking to them? Do they seem aware of something that
Yes, particularly the crime issue, because it's big in my district. Fortunately, the particular area where I live hasn't had a problem, but this district includes a lot of very people on the lower end of the there's a lot of poor folks out there, and of course the blacks are ripping the other blacks off basically, and in all over my district there are many. You find bars on the doors and windows, and you find the porch has been enclosed with iron gates and fences, and you can't even ring the bell, you know. So, but everybody that I found at home, I don't mean everybody, but so many that I found at home and so many that I talked to anywhere, that's right. Of course, there was no way I could stop and talk to many people going door to door. You'd never get anywhere. But if they brought up something, I'd answer, and they'd say, well, that's right. You know, they agreed with me. I just got wonderful feedback from people. As I say, I wish more of them had taken the time to go vote. Yeah.
As you said in the campaign, one of your this city council, they complained about that city council candidate misused public form to address.
That was the no pay, no play. Mr. Zapata, who represents the North Side, which is basically a Mexican-American district, he was the one who was against the fee. And when I began to speak, it was a city council meeting in Fort Worth on Tuesdays, and I had called on Monday to be sure it was legal. Bill had advised me that in Dallas they don't allow candidates to speak before the council, so I called the city secretary's office and was told, sure, it's okay. And I got started on this, and I heard all this discussion among council members, and I ground to a halt, and that was the problem. Zapata was protesting the fact that as a candidate, I was at the podium, and I explained that I'd called and asked, and was told it was all right, and so they asked, the city attorney was there. They asked him. He said, no, there's no rule or law against that. So Zapata leaned over to Mr. Bagsby, the incumbent I was running against, and said, well, Jim, I was just trying to help you. And Bagsby said, that's okay, let her speak. She's been down here before. She has a right to speak. I made it a point to go and thank him for that later. He wasn't a really bad councilman. He was not any worse than the rest of them. In one of these pieces, I was invited to write a piece for the News Tribune on the political page near the end of the election, and it's here on this one of the boards. I stated that I feel this council has just lost touch with people out there. They think everybody's anxious to fund all these things. They want to do this, you know. It's just weird how they'd get up and talk about these things, and, you know, just like we were a resource out there, anytime they decided on something. Right now there's they want to expand the Fort Worth Zoo and make it something like in San Diego. And there's a great deal of opposition. I'm also working with that group, and there's a great deal of opposition there. And I don't think they'll be able to do it. The Zoological Society has said they'll raise the money and build it, but then, of course, it has to be maintained, and they'd never be able to raise the entry fee enough or from the concessions to pay for the upkeep and maintenance of it. And Mr. Wires and I and a whole lot of other people are going to all these meetings around the city and opposing this. There's so many places to do things. You don't have time to do them all. I could never have done this had I not been retired, but you can still, there's a lot you can do. So don't worry about not being retired. Just go ahead and do it and give it everything you've got, and you'll make waves. Well, I thank you very much. And before I get away from the microphone, I would just like to thank, personally, all the people who worked so hard to make this such a success here. I just think it's wonderful, and I want to express my thanks and appreciation to those people, all of them in a lump. Thank you.
Thank you, CB, very much. I think we're going to be just about on schedule for the closing, which may be, I don't remember the last time I was at a conference that closed when the program said. I hope everyone has enjoyed the conference as much as I have. It's been a real pleasure for me to be involved with it. I did want to recognize all of the folks that really did a lot of the work and planning associated with this conference to make it the success that it was. Certainly, and I'm not going to attempt to make an exhaustive list of everyone, but certainly the Texas Executive Committee and our state chair and vice chair, as well as the folks that were on, the state director, Diane Pilcher, and the folks that were on the Houston Planning Committee, who I believe were a combination of Joe Lasardi, Mary Boyd, Martin Clotter, John Cremello, Kevin Southwick, and all the people that worked so hard for us to have a successful conference. I've certainly enjoyed it, and I hope we can maintain the same standards of good conferences and on-schedule activities that we've had the fortune to do so this time. So, hope to see you at the next state activity. The next state activity really begins right about now, which is the State Executive Committee meeting, where there's a number of important decisions going to be made. But as far as the conference, I guess it's my job to officially close it now. If you want to go to the Executive Committee, I think it's an open meeting, is it not, Bill? It's an open meeting, so if that's your interest, certainly feel free to sit on the proceedings. It does not say on my program. It's yes, it's in Houston. Pardon? It's right in this room. Okay, Alex. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you and good afternoon.